I don't even know where to start with Aberdeen. 11 wins in the last 40 games under Jimmy Thelin. Obviously, another defeat at the weekend. Rock bottom of the league. This was supposed to be the season with the Scottish Cup, and this was going to be the season where they really kicked on. But to say it's not happened is an understatement.
Do you know something? We sat in here, Daniel, at the start of the season, so wouldn't it be brilliant? Aberdeen are coming off the back of that win at Hampden. They should have some, momentum right from the start of the campaign, a feel-good factor. And what we were looking for is Aberdeen, Dundee United, Hearts and Hibs all to punch their weight and to be really competitive and make themselves, deliver on their potential, which is they should all be top six sides and they should all be, throwing punches at one another throughout the course of the campaign. Aberdeen are just... I mentioned a few weeks ago that I'd heard that there's a bit of unrest. I'm not sure that the dressing room is a particularly great environment right now. That suggests that the players are struggling with what they're being asked to do by the manager, not enjoying it. And you can see that in results. And it has to... I'm afraid with this one, and Dave Cormack might disagree, because he's got his own views on just about everything, particularly his own sort of manager, and quite rightly so. But I'm telling you, with the quality that they've got in that squad now, and it's a deep squad, and it's dripping with good players, and you're still getting results like this, then I'm afraid the common denominator is the guy that's picking the starting 11 and the guy that's determining the tactics. And I think that it's just not happening for Jimmy Thelin. I understand there's obviously a lot of goodwill because of the winning the Scottish Cup last season for the first time in so long. Obviously, the fans will have enjoyed that, but they know they're not daft either. They know what they're watching here. This is a side that's in serious decline. And by the way, if you make a change quickly, you've got so many good players there. You've got a real opportunity.
When they put out their squad on social media at the weekend, I almost think, bloody hell, that's a good team. That's a really good team.
I've got a real proper squad, and what you have to credit Dave Cormack is, he's throwing the kitchen sink at it here, in an effort to because he sees, I think, the avenue into group stages of European football. He's got that. It's not the level he would have wanted, but he's got it anyway. So in recognition of that, he was able to go and help the manager get tooled up for a campaign which is going to require, domestic, a fight in the domestic front and a fight in the European front, in the Conference League. And you can't say he's not been backed. He's certainly been backed. But I honestly, I look at it and I think to myself, what an opportunity. If they did make the change and they brought in the right guy, then he's got a great squad and a real chance to turn that around. You also look at it in Aberdeen now. This run can't go on, without end. At some point, they're going to get a win. You just wonder if they get a win tomorrow night at Tannadice against Dundee United, which you would say is probably a long shot. But then again, I refer back to what I said about the quality, the players that are in that squad. It's not beyond the realms of possibility that Aberdeen go and win that game. Then they go to, I think, Motherwell at the weekend on Saturday. And if they could get a point there, or reverse it, 1 point at Tannadice and 3 at Motherwell, whatever way they get it, if they can get 4 points from these two games, they leapfrog Rangers. And by the time Rangers go to kick off at Livingston on the Sunday, they're actually bottom place in the league, 12 from 12, which would be staggering. And could you imagine, we've talked a little bit about Rangers, I know, and the sort of bad atmosphere around the place. Livingston away, it is so tight, the ground. Everybody's so close, it's so compact. There'll be a lot of Rangers fans there usually is anyway. Could you imagine the atmosphere inside that place before kickoff if Rangers are actually sitting 12th in the SPFL table?
It feels weird to even say that. It sounds mental.
Honestly, if you were to kind of conjure in your mind, how could circumstances get any... I'm not sure it can get any worse than Livingston away, plastic pitch, that tight stadium, just Rangers fans everywhere you can see, and fury everywhere you can see. Because even if they get a win on Thursday night, if they go into Livingston bottom of the table, what do you think the atmosphere is going to be like around that match? Explosive.
Toxic doesn't even do it justice.
No.
I mean, it'd be crazy. I'll go back to the comments. One last visit to the comments before we wrap up. This one here, Singing the Blues, says Aberdeen have Rangers soon. They'll be Barca again for 90 minutes. Marzuno says, how's Thelin still got a job? Some of their performances have been shocking. And similarly, Scott says, Thelin really lucky to be in a job. And just going back to the fixtures you mentioned there, Keith, obviously tough ones against Dundee United, Motherwell away. After that, Shakhtar Donetsk in the Conference League. I mean, that's going to be really, really difficult for Thelin to get much out of any of the games, I would suggest.
Well, how's your luck? You get a Champions League side in the Conference League.
I know.
Now, obviously, Shakhtar Donetsk aren't the Shakhtar Donetsk of maybe 4 or 5 years ago or longer, but that's a difficult, horrible tie. And I just listen. I'm with the some of the comments there. The Jimmy Thelin thing. I really thought when you saw the impact it had this time 12 months ago, Aberdeen absolutely flying. I think it was 33 points from the first 12 games.
12 games or something now.
Yeah. A story of 31 points from 33, I think it was.
He dropped 2,
and the 2 drop points were at Celtic Park.
Yep.
They drew at Celtic Park. So at that point in time, you could feel this thing building. The Aberdeen fans were beside themselves, and no wonder. Brilliant travelling support. You really felt that something was growing up there, and then it just fell off a cliff. Now, they managed to recover, or he managed to recover throughout his system and his tactics and his strategy and his philosophy for the cup final, and he got a win. Celtic failed to turn up for their work that day. Aberdeen won the cup, and you kind of get the feeling now that might have been a perfect mic drop moment for Jimmy Thelin, because Jimmy's toiling, and it shows no sign of getting any better anytime soon. And I've just said all that, and would it be the biggest surprise in the world if they somehow stopped the rot and managed to get 4 points from these 2 games and flipped over Rangers at the bottom of the league? It really wouldn't. Nothing would surprise you. This feels like the season for madness, and I know they generally are, but there's even by our standards, there's something a bit crazy in there.
No, I completely agree. Just to finish off in Aberdeen, 20 defeats in the last 40 games, pretty mad. Do you think your gut feeling, Keith, will he still be Aberdeen manager after the next international break?
Well, it's like I said about trying to predict what Andrew Kavanagh does at Rangers. Dave Cormack's a difficult guy to predict, and he is prone to accidents along the way. He seemed in a really bizarre rush to want to get Derek McInnes out the door when he kind of took over complete ownership at Aberdeen. I think there was an element of trying to be a people pleaser and pandering to the support. And it's the old one you always say in situations like that: be careful what you wish for. The Aberdeen fans wanted a change for whatever reason. They kind of lost a really competent, talented manager, and have not recovered from it.